Okay, another video. I actually did this one before a couple days ago, and while I run it through the editor today, I said I got to add more to that. Was not complete. I'll make this more a question. I'm basically going to ask what your definition of a redneck is. Do you have a definition of a redneck? I'm not talking about, the Foxworthy, you're a redneck win kind of thing. And I'll tell you why. Not so much online, but I've had, and I think a video like this has been done already. I think Canadian Prepper touched on it. Someone else I can't think of, something about rednecks. But not so much online, but in person, I've had some people in the past that have called me a redneck. And if a family member or something, they're just screwing around being funny or whatever. But I've had two situations where someone called me a redneck, and they did not mean it in a nice way or a joking way. And I had this one guy said, "Well, you're a redneck." And I said, well, I'm not sure what your definition of redneck is, because you say that to me, I'm not offended. Okay, so you're not getting your desired effect. So if what I'm thinking of as a redneck, obviously maybe it's probably not the same thing you're thinking of as a redneck. And I go back to, I think in the late 80s, early 90s, there was this guy that was a writer. I think he's since died. And he was from the South. I believe his name was Lewis Grizzard. Yeah, Grizzard. I might have the name wrong. But he had he'd write these little funny articles. And he defined or gave it what his definition of a redneck was. And I liked it. I thought, hey, that was, And if you look at me now, you go back to like when I'm like 30, I was nothing like this. No cows, no dogs, no. I like race cars and, fancy cars and all this kind of stuff, and dressed real nice and all that. Heck, I probably was a metrosexual. I don't know. But that stuff was important to me, but not anymore. But anyway, this Lewis Grizzard had his definition of a redneck, and I didn't think it was. I thought, that's a lifestyle and an attitude, is what I remember. I don't remember what the guy said. It's been a long time. I looked for it online. I couldn't find it. If you've seen it, maybe you posted it. Share it. Lewis Grizzard. Anyhow, I went to Wikipedia and I punched in redneck. And the definition of redneck, or who it was speaking of in 1880, is not who it was speaking of in 1930. And in 1930 is not redneck does not mean what it meant today, what it meant in 1930. So it's evolved, changed, whatever you want to call it. I think typically now someone sees you go to Google and you punch in redneck for images, and you just get these, rough-looking people that, you get the picture in your mind. And that might be your definition of a redneck, okay? But it just has never been mine. And I know people use it as a derogatory, term, knocking somebody or whatever the case is. Like trailer trash. Well, that person's trailer trash, kind of thing. But I never saw redneck like that. I saw redneck as a lifestyle and an attitude. I didn't see it as racism or bigotry. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the only person that, I've seen it like this. But this guy's calling me a redneck, and I'm like, okay, all right. What's your point? And, but anyhow, there's I look at prepping, in my mind, from a redneck point of view. Now, if you're one of those, you think, well, gosh, what do you mean, you're racist or you're an educator? No, I'm looking at it from what I believe redneck is. When I did the video on the chicken incubator, which, by the way, I got the temperature. I got it where I want. I added some rocks inside there, some more rocks to heat, put the blanket on it, so we're good to go. I need to give a couple more days, see if it stays stable. But anyway, I took that box and made that chicken incubator. I put on the thing on the screen. It said redneck economics. Okay, and my point behind that, not just to try to be funny, I'm always trying to be funny, but was to see that this was a redneck idea. This was I was going to build this with no money, and try to make something out of nothing. Take an old box that was going to get thrown away and a bunch of stuff that was going to get thrown away and the thing I already had, repurpose it, okay, and create something I can use out of it. All right? To me, that's redneck. Okay? There's no hating anybody. Now, I'm sure there's people that call themselves rednecks, that they're all racist and backwards or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. The redneck I was taught, or the redneck approach was just that. I'm going to make something out of nothing. I don't have a problem with, a redneck wouldn't have a problem with sustainability because he's only going to use what he's got anyway. Okay? A redneck's not going to, what's the word? Not going to build something he can't support. You know? He's going to build something with his hands. He's going to create something that's no longer of use and turn it into something he can use. All right? To me, that was redneck. Maybe like you talk about repurposing something. But anyhow, I think typically we've taken that word, that phrase, and we made something nasty out of it, society, whatever the case is. But if you've seen the article, if you find it, Louis Grizzard, his definition of redneck, I just can't find it. But if you have in your mind, here we are, 2015. I think most people think redneck is a bad thing, a negative thing. All right, maybe I'm the only one that just doesn't see it that way or whatever. But if you have a definition, a good definition of a redneck that maybe isn't the norm, these backwards, bigoted people or whatever the case is, I'd like to hear it. All right, am I wrong? Are there other people that think of redneck as not a bad negative thing? Okay. So like I said, this guy was calling me a redneck, and he meant it in a, like calling me an SOB. Well, you're just a redneck kind of thing. And I can't remember what the heck we were talking about. It had nothing to do with him. But I got to thinking about that. And I could see people look at my channel, or maybe look at me. I drive an old beat-up flatbed truck, wear old clothes. I mean, there's duct tape on my truck, and someone might say, well, gee, look at that redneck going down the road. Well, that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. That's their thing. That's their thing. But I don't have an $800 a month car payment. I could. I can go do that. I'm not going to. I did that in my past. You used to do things like that. But what I'm talking about is, as far as prepping goes, I see prepping from my version of a redneck point of view, and I think most other people do. They just don't call it redneck. Okay, when you see prepping, maybe that's what just prepping. Maybe that's what you call it. But I see prepping from that redneck point of view. I think you get a lot of that from bushcraft. We'll take a stick and you create something out of it. You pick up a piece of metal or rock or bottle. It has a value. You can make something out of that. That's going somewhere. To me, that is redneck. Okay, so maybe I got it wrong. Maybe that's the wrong phrase to use. But I don't know if I got a point with this, but I just wonder, does anyone else think of the word redneck and doesn't think it means all this bad stuff? That's kind of where I'm at with that. And do you see equality in redneck as a lifestyle and an attitude, and do you see its place in prepping? I'll just leave it at that, because I'm just gonna make it all kind of, I'll screw this thing up. That's my point. Anyhow, let me know what you think. Love you.